My name's Betty, and we'll be talking about unburying your talent. We are going into Matthew 25, starting in verse 14. Starting verse 14. For it will be like a man going on a journey who called his servants and entrusted to them his property. To one he gave 5 talents, to another 2, to another 1, to each one according to his ability. Then he went away. He who had received the 5 talents went at once and traded with them, and he made 5 talents more. So also he who had the 2 talents made 2 talents more. But he who had received the 1 talent went and dug in the ground and hid his master's money. Now after a long time the master of those servants came and settled accounts with him. And he who had received the 5 talents came forward, bringing 5 talents more, saying, Master, you delivered to me 5 talents. Here I have made 5 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little, I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. And he also, who had the 2 talents, came forward, saying, Master, you delivered to me 2 talents. Here I have made 2 talents more. His master said to him, Well done, good and faithful servant. You have been faithful over a little, I will set you over much. Enter into the joy of your master. He also, who had received the 1 talent, came forward, saying, Master, I knew you to be a hard man, reaping where you did not sow, and gathering where you scattered no seed. So I was afraid, and I went and hid your talent in the ground. Here you have what is yours. But his master answered him, You wicked and slothful servant, you knew that I reap where I have not sown, and gather where I scattered no seed? Then you ought to have invested my money with the bankers, and at my money I should have received what was my own with interest. So take the talent from him and give it to him who has the 10 talents. For to everyone who has will more be given, and he will have an abundance. But from the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. And cast the worthless servant into the outer darkness. In that place there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Wow, weeping and gnashing of teeth. I may not have had weeping and gnashing of teeth, but I've had some pretty rough stuff happen out of my own disobedience. I've wasted many years not listening to what God called me into. And I've missed a lot of opportunities. You know, I know that I could be in a different place right now if I had have obeyed God, but I had a lot of fear. Fear kept me from moving forward. And I'm very thankful that he is a gracious God and has given me more opportunities. But if it wasn't for that, I would be in the ditch somewhere, not happy, in a dark place, like it said, in darkness. And so I encourage you guys to, as we go through it, really think about things that you're missing in life where God is speaking to you on talents and gifts that he has for you that you're too afraid to allow. Why did the man in this story bury his talent? He did it because he was afraid. How many of you have been afraid? What was his view of the master, and why was he afraid of failing him? I've always lived in fear, and I've always had somebody over me. And I know what it feels like to not be able to allow yourself to have more than what somebody tells you. And I know that, I can understand this man who had so much fear of his master that he just hid. I challenge I challenge you to not have that fear. How do you relate to the fearful man in this story? You may be the master. You may be the servant. Where do you stand? Have you buried your talent? What have you buried your talent under? Fear, addiction, isolation, grief, work, toxic relationships, religion, perfectionism, or fill in the blank. What, if anything, is changing in how you see and relate to the master? I definitely have buried my talent under a job that did for 22 years because I didn't see any other way out. And I look back and it's 22 years. It was supposed to be, a couple years job, and I missed out. It may not have been an addiction, but out of fear, I stayed in the same place. So, things to think about. We're going to pause for 5 minutes of journaling.